Right now at 5, the discovery of a body in Carthage leads to a possible criminal investigation.
And some of us got some thunderstorm activity last night, a few isolated showers this morning, pop-up storms possible today. Otherwise, it's going to be very hot. We'll have a look at that forecast, get you out the door coming up.
Plus, Freeman Health announces the establishment of an emergency unit in Fort Scott, Kansas.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Elise Noe.
I'm Chris Warner. So a few of us managed to get some thunderstorms last night. Not everybody did.
Right.
Saw some of that lightning this morning, getting ready, going to get gas and everything like that. Boy, this is my least favorite thing to do.
Getting gas early in the morning?
Just getting it, period.
I'm kind of with you there. Especially early in the morning, because sometimes I haven't planned exactly and had to get some gas at 4 a.m. and that hasn't been the best idea.
Well, here's the deal. I go to a place that's relatively safe, and I don't feel too alarmed. Because there are some gas stations you probably don't want to be at 4 a.m. But yeah, that's a story for another day. Let's start with this. This is the Skywatch Storm Tracker. So I had this set to zero. You have to remember, we have to preset all this business before we go to air. And sometimes, of course, with active rain and things like that, things change. So we've got these little isolated sprinkles and showers here into Crawford and Barton counties. However, since I set this, we have a few more of these little isolated showers down to the south into Craig County, eastern portions of Ottawa County, parts of Newton McDonald County. Nothing crazy out there by any means, but a few light showers here and there. There's that thunderstorm complex, and it was strong to severe for some folks, but it just scraped us to the east. So the original future track planning from about 2 days ago was about right. It stayed roughly on the east side of the area. And as we go through today, we're going to be partly cloudy. It is going to be hot. And just like we've been showing you, those little green spots that keep popping up here and there do have that opportunity for a pop-up storm or two as we head through the day today. Most of us will remain dry, but a pop-up shower storm is possible. Quite warm this morning. Look out in Kansas and Oklahoma. Temperatures mid-upper 70s at 5 o'clock in the morning. Bonita, Grove, you're 2 degrees off of being 80 degrees. But then when you factor in how muggy it is, it feels like it's in the low 80s across parts of southeastern Kansas. It is a very warm and muggy start, and that's going to be the problem we face. So in addition to the pop-up storms out there, again, most of us will be dry, but some pop-up showers and storms will be possible. We're going to go low 90s for our highs today. We don't at this time have any heat alerts of any kind, but we're looking at heat index values easily reaching 100, maybe up to 105. So you've got to be taking it safe out there. You got to stay hydrated, limit your time outside wherever possible. We're going to take another look at your forecast, talk about what we're expecting this weekend and just how much hotter it may get here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, thanks, Chris. We have a still developing story out of Carthage as authorities investigate the discovery of a body in a camper trailer. The discovery was made yesterday just before noon on private property on the 600 block of North Main. Authorities closed down North Main and wrapped the investigation seen in police tape. Carthage police are looking into the possibility the body was transported from somewhere else.
So we're looking into the possibility that the possible crime could have occurred somewhere else, and the trailer just got transported to Carthage.
I see. Can you tell us any other location maybe where it was transported from?
The 2 locations I've heard possibly was near the Kansas City area or possibly Pittsburgh, Kansas.
Carthage police have asked the public to avoid this area for the time being. No word yet on the identity of the person who was found dead. A traffic stop for the Pittsburgh Police Department turns into a car chase and a narcotics bust. It happened around 9:30 Wednesday night, and officers with assistance of a K-9 unit stopped a vehicle for traffic violations. Police detained 2 of the occupants, Jermaine Justin Oliver and Tyreek Tutwiler. Police say the other occupant, William Tyrone Andre Phillips, drove away, nearly striking the officers. They caught Phillips after he abandoned the vehicle. Officers found a number of suspected counterfeit fentanyl pills and a handgun. It turns out Oliver and Tutwiler had warrants out for their arrest. Authorities arrested all 3 on multiple charges. A federal judge yesterday sentenced a Galena, Kansas man who shot at police during a high-speed chase from Joplin into Kansas. 36-year-old Adam Kassler pled guilty to being a felon in possession of a firearm. It stems from a February 2023 incident where he led Joplin police on a chase that crossed the Kansas border. During that chase, authorities say he fired the gun at officers. He is sentenced to 13 years and 6 months in federal prison. And if you're ever on the go and want to still be able to watch our newscasts live, just download the KOAM Plus app. It's available free of charge on the App Store of your choice. Just search for KOAM Plus. Well, Freeman Health is taking over the emergency room in Fort Scott. The news comes years after hospitals have struggled to open and stay open in the area. In 2018, Mercy announced it would close in the face of declining patient numbers and shrinking reimbursement. In 2022, Noble Health had plans to reopen the hospital, but those plans fell through. Then Ascension Via Christi stepped in only to end its ER operations in 2023. KOAM's Anthony Saviello has more details on the announcement from Freeman.
We are here this morning to announce our upcoming presence right here in Fort Scott and in Bourbon County.
After years of not knowing whether or not Fort Scott would ever get an established medical facility, residents now have an answer.
Are so thrilled to have the Freeman family join us here and help us. We do not now have to rely on our EMTs, who are wonderful, to get us somewhere. And now we can have quicker, faster care to a higher level hospital if needed.
As it stands right now, this facility is really nothing more than a barren wasteland. But with Freeman taking over, not only will the emergency room be reopened, they'll also provide 10 inpatient hospital beds with many more services to come.
Absolutely be open to further development. We want to get the emergency room up and running. We want to get the 10 beds at the hospital open, but then absolutely we want to really look at the whole blueprint for services, and it will expand far beyond what we're announcing today.
Some who attended the announcement welcome Freeman with open arms.
A great answer we have here is a great day in Fort Scott. This is a fantastic announcement. This is a benefit to Bourbon County and the citizens of Fort Scott. And it's life-saving and life-supporting.
The truth still remains that Fort Scott has struggled to keep a hold of a medical facility. But with this announcement from Freeman, there may be hope for the future. In Fort Scott, Anthony Saviello, KOAM News.
Freeman CEO Paula Baker says Freeman's presence will not be fully established until April of next year, but she says Freeman plans to move forward as quickly as possible. And that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes coming up on the KOAM Morning News. We'll hear the story of the Newscast graduate and his journey to play Division I golf. Plus, the U.S. Spacewalk 90 at the International Space Station didn't go ahead as planned. We'll have the details. And we have a hot and partly cloudy day today. We'll have what to expect with Chris Warner in the Skywatch Weather Center. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back.
Well, class of 2024 Newscast High School graduate will be playing Division I golf at Nebraska this fall. KOAM Sports Director John Dales has a story on Kyle Eggers' journey to get there.
When Kyle Eggers plays golf, he's used to hearing comments like this.
Going to hole.
Which makes sense, since he's been playing the sport nearly his entire life.
My grandfather, he started me at my age of 2. We started out in the house.
That time inside the house didn't last long.
He started hitting the ball real good, and a couple of days Grandma said, get him out of the house. He's knocking pictures and lamps and everything else over.
Kyle's time being outdriven by his grandpa also didn't last long.
He was 11 or 12, and he started driving the ball as far as I was. And at 13, he started driving the ball 20, 25 yards further than me.
Once in high school, the improvement and growth continued.
Freshman year, I wanted to just become the best out there as possible. at least around in Southeast Kansas. And then I won a Southeast Kansas tournament my junior year, so that was a really good opportunity to have.
After finishing top 10 in the state all 4 years in high school and signing to play D1 golf at Nebraska, Eggers still has loftier goals.
I do want to play on the PGA Tour. That is my end goal, is to play professional golf, whether that's Korn Ferry Tour or the PGA Tour. I just want to go to the next level after college.
For now, Eggers is enjoying the last summer before his college career and still gets a pointer or two from his grandpa. John Dales, KOAM Sports.
While at Nebraska, Eggers plans to enroll in the PGA management program. You can read more on this story at the sports page on our website. That's KOAMnewsnow.com/sports. Well, still to come, we're going to see why the CDC has issued an official health advisory for ADHD medications. Plus, another check of that forecast. Take a look at that shot. Isn't that pretty? More details when we come back. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. 5:16 now on this finally Friday in the 4 states. So that thunderstorm complex is dying out off to our east. However, it has left behind little showers that are trying to trigger here and there. These shouldn't do much more than just some sprinkles, but you can see them on the Skywatch Storm Tracker out there. Not much with that, but nonetheless, they are there. Like that one there, flared up, died out. And then there's that thunderstorm complex. It skirted the eastern side of our area and is now beginning to fizzle out. Now, we're going to have that opportunity for pop-up showers and thunderstorms today. Most of us will remain dry and hot, but you see those little green splotches that appear every so often? That is the future track trying to interpret and understand pop-up storms. It's difficult because they flare up randomly and then they die within half an hour or so at most. And so the future track tries to plot it out, but it's at least letting us know that that's going to be a remote possibility as we go through today. As for the rest of the overnight hours, we're fine until tomorrow morning. We'll see a few isolated showers, and throughout the day Saturday, it's going to be kind of a combination of that possibility for pop-up showers and storms into the afternoon. Again, most of us will be dry, and then as we head into the evening, we could see some semi-organized showers, maybe a couple of thunderstorms out there. But the good news is we're not anticipating any severe weather. But again, as you saw, a little more organized activity by late Saturday night. Sunday is looking pretty good. We're going to be partly cloudy through most of the day, maybe a pop-up shower, but I do believe we're just simply going to be dry and hot. So good news for today, our UV index has come down a bit. It's down to a 7, which is still high, but the burn time for unprotected skin is 30 minutes, and so you still want to take precautions, limit your time outside, because aside from that, we have the heat. We have those heat index values. It's part of the pop-up storm formula is the dew point, humidity being higher. That gives them just enough energy to flare up, and that's going to be the problem for us over the next few days is the humidity and heat index values out there. So we have that moderate heat risk for us today. It overspreads much more of the area tomorrow with a few of those little major splotches getting in. So we're talking these heat index values exceeding 100 degrees as we head into the weekend. So we're talking heat index values 100, 105. For some of us, maybe even a little higher as you see that major continues to overspread the area, and even little splotches of the extreme as we go into Monday. We'll start to see a little relief as we go a little further into next week. Not much, but a little. And at this time, we don't have any heat alerts, no heat advisories, nothing like that, but if that changes, we'll let you know. But you still want to take precautions out there. You want to do early morning walks, make sure your pets are inside, keep your kids hydrated. Water, those Pedialyte pops are a great option. You want to find shade, drink plenty of water if you are outside for any reason, especially for outdoor workers. And of course, you still want to check on the elderly. You want to call, stop by, make sure they're doing okay, make sure they're staying cool out there. Quick look at temperatures, because I want to just show you just how hot it is. 74, so that's not bad, and we've leveled out a bit in Joplin now. It feels like 74. Winds out of the east-southeast gusting to 22. Temperatures around the area, though, still fairly warm the further west you go, some upper 70s, and then you factor in the humidity and dew point, and we've still got heat index values, upper 70s and low 80s in parts of southeast Kansas and northeastern Oklahoma. As we get our day underway, mostly clear skies initially, a stray shower or two possible, very warm, mid-80s by 11 o'clock this morning, and then we'll have that opportunity for some pop-up showers and storms. Again, most of us will be dry, but will otherwise be partly cloudy, going into the low 90s. Our heat index values today could easily reach 100 degrees, so do be careful. And as I mentioned, we don't have any heat advisories or anything. I would be surprised if that did not change as we head through today, especially into this weekend as temperatures continue to climb into the low 90s out there. And we'll hold on to low 90s to Wednesday, our coolest day at 89, maybe some scattered showers. Otherwise, sunny, hot, dry, muggy, just relatively unpleasant, very summer-like weather out there as we stay in the low to mid 90s. And that keeps our heat index values up there in the upper 90s, maybe some lower 100s. Overnight lows stay mild as well into the 70s. That's checking your forecast. We're back with Health Watch right after this.
Topping Health Watch this morning. The abortion pill is staying on the market. The Supreme Court on Thursday rejected a lawsuit challenging the Food and Drug Administration's approach to regulating mifepristone. The ruling allows the pill to continue to be mailed to patients without an in-person doctor's visit. Justice Brett Kavanaugh wrote the unanimous opinion. He said doctors and anti-abortion groups didn't have a standing to sue. Much of his opinion covered the various legal thresholds a plaintiff must reach to make it appropriate for courts to intervene. The reasoning in this case was technical and could encourage other challenges in the future. Well, people with ADHD, listen up. The CDC has issued an official health advisory warning. There may be disruptions at accessing ADHD medications. The announcement comes after the arrest of two executives of a telehealth company that distributes such drugs. The Justice Department announced a federal healthcare fraud indictment against two executives from the digital health company Dun Global. The indictment claims the two executives generated more than $100 million in revenue by arranging for the prescriptions of more than 40 million pills, targeting drug seekers and instructing prescribers to prescribe stimulants to patients even if they didn't qualify. Well, in Tennessee, a middle school student born with a medical condition decided last year she wanted to play the drums. So to make her dreams come true, Tennessee Tech engineer students created prosthetics just for her. Austin Pollock has more from Murfreesboro.
The Sobey household in Murfreesboro can be quite loud.
It can be, for sure, yeah.
But 12-year-old Aubrey refuses to keep quiet.
She just does whatever she wants to do.
I'm really into music. I could just lay down and listen to any genre of music, and it makes me feel happy.
There's so much resiliency there that she's never known any different. So she just does things how she does things.
One of the things that impresses me most about Aubrey is not only how she plays the drums, but rather how she handles what can make middle school so tough.
A lot of kids making fun of me.
Aubrey was born a triple congenital amputee.
Yeah, a lot of people are very rude. Like, it's primarily kids. Sometimes they come up to me and just start touching my arms. So I'm just, whoa.
We have always looked for resources. We have had lots of support and help.
My program is called Tech Engineering for Kids.
Dr. Steve Canfield is an engineering professor at Tennessee Tech. His students fitted Aubrey for these prosthetics.
No, these are custom designed. I mean, they scanned her arms, made many versions to custom fit her.
Aubrey's band instructors were able to help make the connection to the student engineers at Tennessee Tech. It helps. There's no question about that. And Aubrey has clearly found her way. Pretty impressive, right? Well, listen to Aubrey loud and clear.
People look at me and be like, I bet she isn't able to do anything, but I can do everything. So it doesn't really bother me.
The prosthetics were made using the school's 3D printers. And that's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
And we've got a few isolated showers out there now. A few pop-up storms possible and very hot today. The latest on your forecast when we come back.
Right now at 5:30, authorities say all the people living in a Joplin apartment house escaped unharmed from a fire.
And we've got a mild start, just straight up warm start for us today. It will be hot. Could have some pop-up storms later today as well. We'll look at that forecast, get you out the door coming up.
Plus, the 60th annual Bushwhacker Days kicked off yesterday in Nevada, Missouri. We'll take you there.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's just coming up on 5:30. I'm Elise Noe.
And I'm Chris Warner. It is Friday, June the 14th.
Yes,
and as we reminded you earlier this week, there's only 30 days in June. Tomorrow's the halfway mark of the halfway point of this year.
Like I've said, it's flown by really fast.
Really
I can't
has.
even believe it.
And
I really can't.
I can't either. Like, it's hard to believe that we're coming up on the 4th of July, which is, we know, that's kind of getting into the peak of the summer heat, but also getting ready on that downhill run to get back to school. Already seeing school supplies out. I hated that when I was a kid. It seemed like earlier and earlier they'd put it out. And I'm like, come on.
I know.
Wait a little bit. It's still summer vacation. And it is certainly going to feel like summer over the next several days as well. Let's start with this. This is the Skywatch Storm Tracker. This is showing us that we have still some isolated showers out there. They're flaring up and dying out, but we got this one in parts of Bourbon County, got a little shower down here in McDonald County. There's not much to them, nor will there be, but just a heads up, you might run into a couple of sprinkles. You can see where some of them, they flare up, they die out, and we get a few more that try and flare up, but they're, again, not really going to do much. And that's going to be the trend for us actually through most of today, as we're expecting that opportunity for some pop-up storms out there. Future track again, you'll see those green splotches just kind of flare up out there, and that is the future track again trying to just signal to us that pop-up storms are going to be a possibility as we head into the afternoon. But again, most of us should remain dry. A very warm start out there. Now further east, especially where we got some rain like Monette, Cassville, it's in the upper 60s, not bad. Everyone else, we got low mid 70s, we've got upper 70s the further west that you go, and we even have heat index values at this hour, 80, low 80s. 81 is what it feels like in Neodesha and Chanute at 5:31 in the morning. That's your signal that it's going to be another hot day out there. So we've got the isolated pop-up storms, otherwise partly cloudy skies, highs into the low 90s at this time. And this, I would be surprised if it didn't change. We don't have any heat advisories or anything like that in place, but as we head through today and into the weekend, we're looking at heat index values easily approaching 100 degrees, maybe a bit higher. So you do need to be taking it safe, limit your time outside, stay hydrated, and just keep yourself safe from the heat. We'll have more on your forecast, just how hot it's going to get, and if there's any other rain chances out there here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
Thanks, Chris. Authorities say all the people living in a Joplin apartment house escaped unharmed from a fire there. The fire broke out yesterday morning at a building at 2nd and South Pearl near the downtown area. It was an older house that had been separated into apartments. Authorities say all the people escaped, but several cats died. Investigators say the fire was accidental, and they say it started in the kitchen of one apartment and then spread throughout the attic. Mercy Hospital announces a partnership with the Joplin area Catholic schools to provide a tuition assistance program for its co-workers. The tuition program extends to the 3 Joplin area Catholic schools. They say the partnership opportunity provides full-time Mercy Joplin, Mercy Carthage, Mercy Columbus, Mercy Clinics, and Mercy Galena co-workers with access to affordable Catholic education for their children. Well, drivers on US 69 in Cherokee County should be aware of some road work. KDOT began a resurfacing project this week, starting at US 400 on 69 and continuing south for about 18 miles to the roundabout at K66. Flaggers and a pilot car are guiding one-lane traffic through the work zone during daylight hours. Expect delays of up to 15 minutes. They say weather permitting, the road work should be finished by mid-September. Well, the 60th annual Bushwhacker Days kicked off yesterday in Nevada, Missouri. It features food, fun, and live music. We sent KOAM's photojournalist Friends Wallace there to check it all out.
There we go. Look up, boys.
The zipper was really scary.
Why?
Because it never stopped moving, and you're just always spinning, and I'm still shaking.
Because I love it spinning around.
Is it fast or is it slow?
It's slower, but I love being it slower. The airplane, the horse, that one.
And out of the airplane and the horses, which one was your favorite so far?
The airplane.
Why?
Bushwhacker Days continues through Saturday with other events, including a baby contest, scavenger hunt, and a parade. And that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. An American journalist will be forced to stand trial while the U.S. continues to fight for his release. Plus, Israeli tanks are advancing deeper into the Gazan city of Rafah. We'll have the latest. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. Topping World Watch. Russia says detained American journalist Evan Gershkovich will be forced to stand trial while the U.S. continues to fight for his release. Gershkovich was accused of spying on Russia on behalf of the CIA, something U.S. officials and his newspaper denies. Connor Hansen has the story.
Journalism is not a crime. The charges against him are false, and the Russian government knows that they are false.
Wall Street Journal reporter Evan Gershkovich has been held in a Russian prison for more than a year. And now Russia says he will stand trial there. Gershkovich was on a reporting trip when he was arrested by Russia's Federal Security Service. They accused him of spying on a facility that builds military equipment, but Russian authorities haven't provided evidence.
There's absolutely zero credibility to those charges. We have been clear from the start that Evan has done nothing wrong.
U.S. officials say they have been working tirelessly on Evan's release for months. But Gershkovich will likely be held at least until his trial ends, sitting through secret, closed-door hearings. The State Department's top negotiator told Congress they could lose contact for a time.
It'll almost be like it's gone dark, but eventually an American or I would say a detainee's surfaces in Yekaterinburg, and we'll have a chance to reestablish that connectivity from there.
Making rare public remarks, Russian President Vladimir Putin recently alluded to the possibility of a prisoner swap.
Such situations are not solved in the media. They love a quiet, tranquil, and professional approach and a dialogue between the special services. And these issues should be resolved on the basis of mutuality.
That was what ultimately led to American basketball star Brittany Griner's release in 2022. Evan Gershkovich is the first American journalist jailed on Russian espionage charges since the Cold War. If convicted, he could face up to 20 years inside a Russian prison.
The U.S. Spacewalk 90 at the International Space Station did not go ahead as planned. NASA astronauts Tracy C. Dyson and Matt Dominic were set to take a walk outside the International Space Station yesterday. According to NASA, a suit discomfort issue led them to cancel the embarkment. The spacewalk was expected to take more than 6 hours. While outside, the two would have collected samples to see whether microorganisms could survive in a space laboratory and fix equipment issues on the space station. Israeli tanks are advancing deeper into the Gazan city of Rafah. The move comes as Hezbollah terrorists fire additional rockets from Lebanon into northern Israel. Trey Yingst has the latest from Tel Aviv.
Tensions along the Israel-Lebanon border are boiling. Hezbollah retaliating with its single largest rocket barrage in a day after Israel killed a top Hezbollah commander this week. Hundreds of rockets, along with dozens of attack drones, were launched from southern Lebanon as the Iran-backed group vows to escalate the ongoing conflict.
We will increase our operations in intensity, force, quantity, and quality, and let him wait for us in the field.
Israeli airstrikes have pummeled southern Lebanon in recent days, going after Hezbollah strongholds and rocket launching positions. Efforts are ongoing to reach an understanding with Hezbollah to avoid the situation unraveling into a larger war, but time is running out.
Whether through diplomatic efforts or otherwise, Israel will restore security on our northern border. Israel will respond with force to all aggressions by Hezbollah.
Reports indicate that American officials are urging the Israelis to use restraint and not escalate the ongoing conflict, although with fires raging across northern Israel and no end in sight for the war in Gaza, Israeli officials could launch a larger offensive action without the blessing of their U.S. allies.
You see the conflict in the north of Israel continue to reach concerning levels, and we want to tackle all of those issues, and the best way to do that is through a ceasefire.
With major developments in the north, Israeli forces continue to operate on the southern front in Gaza. Those soldiers are getting closer to the main humanitarian zone, but aren't striking it.
And that's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:44 on this Friday morning here in the 4 states. Skywatch Storm Tracker is now just about clear. We did have a few, and if you look on the loop, a few of these little stray showers that tried to flare up, but those have since gone away. But we do have the opportunity for some additional pop-up storms as we go through the day. Now, most of us will be dry. We're going to be hot. It's going to be muggy. That's part of the combination and part of the ingredients for pop-up storms is having that humidity. So it's essentially having the gasoline out there and just a tiny spark to trigger a storm or two. So when we put the future track into motion, you see those little green specks that keep popping up all over the place? That's the future track's attempt at interpreting pop-up storms. As we mentioned, pop-up storms, they're random. They flare up quickly, they die quickly, so the future track has a really hard time picking up on them, but it's trying to at least tell us it's a possibility for some of us today. As we go through the overnight, we'll be fine until about 5 o'clock tomorrow morning. We'll see maybe a few more organized showers, maybe a couple of thunderstorms out there, and then the majority of our Saturday is going to be the same. You'll see some of those little specks. We'll get some pop-up showers and storms out there, and then by late evening, especially in our eastern counties, say Nevada, Stockton, Monette, Cassville, could see a little more organized shower and thunderstorm activity. It'll be short-lived, but we could see some of that. And then our Sunday, looking pretty good as well, other than the fact it's going to be downright hot with some partly cloudy skies. So our UV index today at last check is going to be a 7. That's still high, but we're doing a little better, at least for today. It goes back up to a 10 as we head into the weekend. 30-minute burn time for unprotected skin, so make sure you're taking precautions, limiting your time outdoors, using sunscreen, but with the heat and humidity, you want to really limit your time outdoors and ensure you're staying hydrated. So we have that moderate heat risk across the area for today. As we head into the weekend, that spreads over the entire area. Then we start seeing that major pop up. So that's just indicating we're looking at that possibility of heat index values exceeding 100 degrees in the major zones here. So by Sunday, you can see a much broader portion of the area into the major, and by Monday, even some spots into the extreme. So again, at this time, we do not have any heat advisories or anything, but again, I'd be surprised if that didn't change even by this afternoon, if we start seeing some come out for this weekend. So, things you need to know. For your pets especially, make sure they're indoors. Do early morning walks with them. Even though it's still pretty warm now, it's much more manageable now than it will be later today. Keep your kids hydrated. Water, Pedialyte pops. If you've got to be outside, you need to find shade, stay hydrated, and of course, to make sure you're checking on the elderly because they are one of the most vulnerable segments of the population between the elderly and the children when it comes to this extreme heat. Got a nice view. Look at the coloring in those clouds from the sunrise this morning. It's still a bit breezy. 74 in Joplin. Feels like 74. Gusting upwards of 22 out of the east-southeast. However, you can kind of tell where the rain had been and where it hasn't been because if you go further east, Monette, Cassville, Stockton, considerably cooler. upper 60s, low 70s. Then you head further west where we really didn't see anything last night. It is much warmer. Look at Chinook, for example, 78 degrees. And you factor in the fact that it is muggy out there. We've got heat index values of 81 in Neodesha and Chinook, 80 in Parsons, Miami, Veneta Grove. So the further west you go where we really didn't see any rain, haven't seen that much cloud cover, it is still pretty toasty even for this time of day. Be mostly clear through the morning, 85 by 11 o'clock. And again, maybe an isolated shower out there because we've seen them try to flare up. Then as we head through the afternoon, again, an isolated pop-up storm or shower will be possible. Not anticipating any severe weather. It's going to be hot, low 90s, and we're looking at heat index values easily approaching about 100 degrees. We head into the evening hours. We've got the pop-up storms wrapping up again as we start to lose some of the sunshine, some of that daytime heating. And we're still pretty toasty by 10 o'clock at 80 degrees. We'll fall back eventually in the low 70s with those partly cloudy skies. As we head into our Saturday, as we mentioned, some pop-up storms possible, maybe some slightly more organized shower and thunderstorm activity late tomorrow evening. Again, no severe weather is expected at this point. Otherwise, as you can see, we continue to warm, low 90s out there, maybe even some mid 90s, and that's going to put those heat index values again at 100, maybe upwards of 105 degrees as we head into the weekend. Could be higher Sunday and Monday. So again, I wouldn't be surprised if we see some heat advisories start to pop up as we head into this weekend. It'll be sunny and hot Monday and Tuesday. Some isolated showers possible Wednesday, and it does cool us back a bit into the upper 80s. And then the low to mid 90s return, and we get really hot again to close out next week. That's checking your forecast. We're back with more right after this.
Well, in California, a major accomplishment for a Sacramento student. At just 18 years old, she's just earned her master's degree from the prestigious Indiana University Jacobs School of Music. Brittany Hope has more on what she's planning to conquer next.
I've been in college for like over half my life.
And she's a teenager.
Has it kind of hit you that you really are extraordinary?
I don't know. I've been doing this my whole life, so I don't really see it.
Tiara Abraham is humble and wise beyond her 18 years of life.
I graduated high school at 13 years old, and I transferred to UC Davis as a junior at 14 years old.
And graduated with her Bachelor of Arts in Music. At 16, she packed her bags and went to Indiana University. Just last month, she earned her master's degree in music.
When I came out, I let out this huge cry, and my mom's like, she always tells the story. She always says, that girl's gonna be an opera singer.
A lot of people they don't realize music is a very tough field, and so we're super proud that Tiara got that at 18.
There's not many South Asians in the opera field, there's just a handful. And so, I definitely feel like it's important to make my mark in the field for future South Asians who want to pursue opera.
Representation on the global stage, already breaking barriers at Carnegie Hall and the Vatican.
So I think just being able to prove that I have the talent and potential has been, a journey, and just trying to show that I am, that I have a voice that I want to share with the world.
This is just the beginning. In the fall, Tiara is going back to Indiana for her doctorate program.
So usually it ends up, being like five years, but I'm aiming for 3.5, so we'll see how that goes.
Humility and wisdom from a girl who's already accomplished so much.
An incredible talent. Stick around. We'll be right back.